So that shiny new game just came out, A Quiet Place, The Road Ahead, and you want to know if it's worth your time, right? Well, let's take a look at the game first and first impressions. Keep in mind, this is not a full review, this is a quick look at the game. I played the game for a little over 2 hours, so show some footage of the game while describing it and giving a few thoughts on it. First things first, performance. With my 3080 Ti, I usually record at 1440p. However, I could not get this game's resolution higher than 1080p for some reason. It could be on my end, I have no idea. I played on 1080p with DLSS on quality, and all settings were set to high except for the textures on epic. I also had ray tracing off and I had the FPS limit set to 90. Even though I was playing at 1080p, I was getting anywhere from 70 to 90 FPS. Also, this game does have some stutters in it. The stuttering wasn't bad, the game was still playable, but they're present and can be annoying. For 1080p though, the graphics look pretty dang good. Most games I play on 1080p look pretty trash, but this, pretty good. I haven't seen the A Quiet Place movies before. It's been on my to-do list, but I just haven't got to them yet, so I'm playing this game with no prior knowledge of the movies. The game begins with Alex and Martin, who are a couple exploring a building looking for food to bring back to their base at the hospital. You play as Alex though, who is the female. There's no minimap, there's no inventory screen. The only screen that you can pull up is the diary, where Alex will write down stuff. I looked at it once and I never looked at it again. It wasn't really necessary. You can, however, press a button which will bring up icons of where to go. You're just wandering around with Martin in this building, and you can find a whole lot of notes and photos, all of which aren't that important either. This is a very linear game, so you can only explore within the boundaries, and any location that you need to shimmy through or climb onto will have yellow on it. Now let's talk about the game mechanics. You can walk, run, and crouch. While crouching or walking, you can alter your speed as well. You can walk and crouch slightly faster or more slowly. However, if you walk or crouch faster, then you're louder. Being louder draws the attention of the creatures, same for running. Throughout the game, what I did was this. I permanently walked and crouched slower, and I never ran. And there's also items that you can bump into, which will make loud noises. Those usually have red on them, just like the climbing ledges has yellow. Things like buckets and canisters have red. I did hit a couple of those, and wow, they are pretty loud. Then there's the terrain. Going through puddles are loud, but sometimes unavoidable. Walking on glass is loud, and walking on wood is pretty loud too. For example, I walked on a wooden door that had fallen over. It was way louder than I thought, so I immediately turned around and gave up exploring that room. Then walking off the path is also pretty loud. I died only once in this game, and I was actually surprised by that. I was crouching and also moving slower, both of those combined, and I thought I was pretty good there. However, what I did was I walked like 2 feet off the pathway, and apparently I snapped like 17,000 branches, and I shook the grass to death like I wanted to be caught apparently. It was pretty loud enough to alert a creature to my location, and I died. In addition to that, there's also doors, drawers, and latches. You can open them fast and loud or slow and quiet. You betcha I opened every single one at a snail's pace. As for exploring, you'll find papers, photos, and collectible spaceships. The spaceships give you currency, which is useless in the game. What it's for is in the main menu, there's an extra tab. In that extra tab, there's concept art and character models, both of which can be bought with the currency that you get from the spaceships that you find. You can't do anything with either of those except look at them, so I personally didn't care too much about that. Alex and Martin slept in the building and then left in the morning, but before that, Alex took a pregnancy test that night and found out she's pregnant. She told Martin, and all's good and happy, and that's that. So as they're leaving the building, it's Alex's turn to go over a log that's in the way in the road, but her leg gets stuck inside of it. The creature is after her now, so Martin yells at it to get its attention, but now he's dead. 2 weeks later, Alex is back in the hospital base. Martin's mom, Laura, doesn't really like Alex and locks her in the room to keep the baby safe. Alex's dad gets her out, but then Laura and another guy confront Alex's dad to find out where she went, but the other guy pushed over Alex's dad, which made a loud noise. The hospital lights go red, and you can now hear a creature in the building. Even though there's no inventory screen, you do still have an inventory. The tools will be on the bottom left of your screen, and the consumables on the bottom right of your screen. For tools, at least in the 2 hours that I played, I had a device that measures ambient sound and your own sound, and a flashlight. Then consumables, I had an inhaler and any throwables that you might pick up. You see, Alex, the female main character, is all kinds of messed up. Number one, she's female, so that's a problem. Okay, I'm joking about that. Number one, she's pregnant with Martin's child, so she's got sickness going on from that. And number two, she also has asthma. Her asthma is a massive problem too. On the top left of the screen is her asthma attack indicator. Whenever a creature is nearby, that is going to start going red and bad. If it goes too far, she'll have an attack, and that's loud. I personally kept her from having a single attack. The inhaler is used to make that symbol in the top left turn blue, which calms her down. Also, there's some items that you need to pick up and carry, and that can also cause asthma attacks, so you're going to need to be careful. Also, one last thing about the inhaler, even using the inhaler is loud. I once took it near a creature and about pooped my pants when the creature started walking towards my location because it heard the inhaler. You can find pills too, which are like a lesser form of the inhaler and don't last as long, and you can't keep those, they're taken immediately. Throwables can be used to distract the enemy, like a bottle or brick, And also when I got off the game, there was a part that had bear traps in my way, and the only way to get past those bear traps was to use the throwable on the trap to set it off, and that was pretty loud. And finally, you can find batteries used for the flashlight or other devices. As for the flashlight, I never used it, but not because I didn't want to. I did want to. The game is dark after all. However, the left hand is for tools only, and the flashlight was nowhere near as important as a device that can detect sounds. I had that thing out constantly. The ambient noise is a blue bar, and your own noise is a bar on the right. If you go over the blue bar on the left, then the creatures will most likely hear you. Back to the story now, I had to navigate the hospital to leave it, making as little sound as possible. Also, if you didn't know, the creature is blind, but it can hear really good. At several points in the game, and once in the hospital, it just walked right at me. I had to get out of the way quickly and quietly. Earlier, Alex had found a map with a camp that she had told her dad about, so her plan is to meet up with him there. You'll need to walk through the forest though, which includes going through some buildings, using planks to cross big holes, and avoiding the creatures in general. I got off the game after I made it to the camp, which was abandoned, but her dad was there. The performance of the game is what's holding it back a bit, but as for the game itself, I actually liked it. It's very tense having to be constantly quiet, while at the same time avoiding the creatures. I really felt the pressure a lot of times. This game can be stressful. Oh, and there's also an additional mode in the settings that you can turn on that lets the game listen to your microphone. If you're loud, then the creature will hear you. I didn't use that mode though. So in conclusion, the performance is kinda bad, graphics look pretty good, and the gameplay itself is stressful but enjoyable. I like this game overall, though that's my personal opinion. Whether or not this is your type of game, I'll see you on the next one.